Hello, everyone, and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from and whenever you are watching from. I was like, is that the right word I want to use? I am Jennifer Hart, and I am the host of this show called Jennifer Hart Connected. I've gone back and forth on the title like a million times. I'm over it. It's just, that's what it started off as naturally. So I'm sticking with that. I do like to always tell people this is a previously recorded live. So like I'm restreaming it as a live, but I re-recorded it earlier. So if you are here live, say hello. And if you have questions, we will be monitoring the chat and we will get back to you. I always love to know, like, what was the path that brought you here today? If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and joining us again. I appreciate you and your presence, your time, and your energy. I believe that time is one of the most precious commodities. That's something that we in the 3D earth don't get back, right? It's rolling and it just happens. And I appreciate you for being here today. So say hello. If you're new here, say hi, introduce yourself. Where are you coming from? And how did you get here? Did someone refer you? I'd love to hear like the stories of how like the universe lined up and was like, here, and get to this girl's page. And sometimes people tell me, they're like, I don't even know how I got to your page, but this was the exact message I needed to hear today. And I trust that. And we're going to be talking about that today. So we're talking about, which is my favorite topic and one of my biggest beliefs, is the signs and the synchronicities of the universe and how things align for us and conspire for us in our favor to bring it together and to co-create our path with us. So I look back and my whole journey started with a bucket list. And I just started doing this bucket list. And now in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, oh, this bucket list was actually like my soul map that was guiding me to get me to where I am today. And it was fun. It was easy. It was connecting with others. It took me on the path of self-discovery and growth. And it also took me out of my comfort zone. And I brought others with me, which was the most fun piece of it for me, because as a connector, I'm like, I'm doing this. Who wants to do this? Oh, you need to know this information. So with that being said, I am now here. I am a guide, a soul guide is what I like to refer to myself as, and a connector. And I connect people to the information, the events, the resources, and the other people that they need to learn, grow, heal, and achieve their life's missions, their soul's gifts, their goals, whatever it is for them, right? And it's with the focus of spirituality and personal development and growth, because those are my passions and that has been my journey. So what I have created at this point is the Connected Soul Network. It is a network and a membership to bring together people for those exact purposes. So I service two different groups of people. Explorers, that was who I was when I first started. I was just kind of like, oh, what's going on in my life? Why do I think this way? How come I'm like this? Ooh, I'm so excited and curious to explore all these things. And, when the universe was dropping these events for me and these little breadcrumbs of try this out, go do this. And like, then looking back on like the path that it took me. So I've now created a space to hold for others who are on that journey. And I'm still an explorer myself. And then I service guides. So these are all the people like myself who are now guiding other people on their journey and helping them. And could be coaches, healers, therapists, any type of practitioner that is helping all aspects of life, right? Finances, health and wellness, mental, energetic, spiritual, all those things. And it's all of the spiritual entrepreneurs who provide support services to business owners. And I say spiritual entrepreneurs because it's a very spiritual network. I tried to deny it for a long time, but you know what? It's one of my core principles and values that I am a very spiritual person. And so I am owning the woo. It's so funny because I was talking the other day to one of the gals in the network, Danny Muniz. You might all know her. She's been on a lot and she's one of my go-to people, astrologer. And we were having a session, a vision mapping session. And somehow or another, I don't even remember how it got brought up, but it was like, we were talking about the woo-woo, like how we're both very woo-woo and we want to make sure that people know that so that they know they're in the right space. And somehow or another, the thing was like, ooh, we're the woo-woo spirit crew. And I was like, we got a new jingle. It's awesome. So anyways, I digress, but I'm excited today to introduce you to a new member and guide in the network. His name is Occam Wood. We are going to be talking today about our upcoming Shasta experience that we have, the Mount Shasta Mystical Journey. He's going to be there, and we're going to talk about the journey of how he, and I'll also, of course, share mine, of how this has all transpired, how it's impacted us. I don't know, making this up as I go along, to be completely honest with you. And I know it's going to be an amazing conversation because that's the best way that those happen. So let me tell you a little bit about him. Oh my gosh, I forgot to say, if you would like to join us on the Mount Shasta Mystical Journey, it is still available, and you can check it out at the website below, jenniferhart.com/Mount Shasta 2023. It's happening next week, July 20th to the 23rd. And we decided that for the first official year, we're just going to make it more of a connection gathering. We are going to offer a pay what you can, starting at $100 up to $250, and whatever you can afford. And then that will include all of the curated experiences that we've had. And there's also no pressure, like come to what you want to come to. I personally think you should come to all of it because it's going to be amazing. We'll be connecting with nature heavily, and Mount Shasta has this magical energy to it, or so I've heard from like everybody and their moms. And then we'll be connecting to source, whatever you call that, to ourselves, and then to the others that are with us who are on the same path and the same journey. We're going to have amazing experiences. You can see it all on the website. And the Quantum Sacred Cacao Ceremony, which is going to be happening on, it's like a little standalone event, Friday, July 21st from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That is sold separately. I believe it's $121 with all the taxes and fees. Highly recommend attending it. Jen Hansen Silva and Cherie Brooks will be putting that on, and they each have their own businesses, The Feathered Sage and Conscious Balance. And together, they come together and put on this magical and amazing experience with holotropic breath work. They're going to be doing a sound bath and drumming, energetic clearing, and re-energizing and opening of the chakras, and then the heart opening ceremony through energy work, and also through the sacred cacao ceremony, which I've never done. So I'm really excited about that. And if you are in that area of Shasta and you're watching this, you are more than welcome to just come to this event by itself. It's going to be at this amazing yurt in Weed, California, which is right by Mount Shasta. And one more plug before I say plug, but what it really is just sharing. Like, I don't want to give you all of this like little tidbits of all these great things that I'm up to and not invite you to join me. So if you are interested in joining us in the network, you can just go to my main website here. It's easiest to remember, jenniferhart.com. But I put this one here because this is all of our upcoming events that you can check out and see what do we have going on in the network. Events are open. Some of them are open to guests to attend. It's only $15. Come check it out. I'm happy if you are like, hey, I'm interested in joining, but I'm not sure. So can I drop into a couple events? Just send me a message and we can hop on a call, or I can answer questions, or you can come check out a couple of events. For members, we do have a bunch of new exclusive member-only events starting so that we can build and harbor like that community, that safety, that container together. We have a group coaching call for guides that started a couple months ago that is for members. And we have a new group coaching call for explorers that is starting this month. And it's going to be a monthly reoccurring call with Astra Fox. She's one of our amazing spiritual life coach guides in the network. Gosh, we have so much. I don't have time to tell you all of it. It'll be a separate video, but go check it out here. And in this link and on my website, you can find the links to join. Are you a guide or are you an explorer? Pick which one resonates for you and join us. It's monthly and also yearly discounted options. So there should be something there for you, and we would love to have you. All righty. Now that I have shared all of the things that I'm up to and how we can connect even deeper, thank you for your time of listening, and let's get into it. I am so excited to introduce to you Occam Wood. He is a certified level 3 Reiki master and teacher. He is the creator of the Trauma Transmutation and Soul Integration, also known as TTSI. I'm like, thank you for spelling out what that is and then adding the acronym. I learned that along the way, that how important that is, because I see a lot of times we're like all these acronyms and I'm like, I don't know what it means. The TTSI is a method of helping survivors of sexual and physical abuse and those struggling with addiction to identify, neutralize, and transmute their unresolved trauma. With over 20 years of sobriety and a wealth of personal experience, Occam is passionate about helping others release the past and move into life beyond trauma. He loves sharing his story and insights on podcasts and invites listeners to join him on a journey of self-discovery and healing. Some of his favorite topics that you'll hear him speaking about is understanding how the energy body creates the physical body, the effects trauma has on the mental, emotional, and physical body, releasing past baggage to create a more balanced future, and overcoming adversity. I felt that was important because who knows which of those might show up today. Occam, welcome. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jennifer. I'm so excited. Obviously, I love to spend time with you anytime we get a chance, and to be able to address more and more people is always a pleasure. So thank you for creating the space and all the spaces you create. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for joining us in the network. We're so excited to have you. I've loved you since the day I met you. I love how the universe brought us together. So I always like to start, how do I know people? Sometimes, well, I feel like it's always a fun story of that, right? So one day I'm on Instagram and I get a message from Occam, and he was like, hey, I saw one of your videos that you did with our mutual acquaintance, Emma Lyons, and her and I have done a lot of videos together. She's an amazing healer. And you were like, and I want to get in on this. I loved it. And so it was, this is like the crazy piece about it, is a video I did a long time ago, and it was just on my YouTube, and I believe she had shared it. So there's, highlighting herself and showcasing like what gifts and soul gifts she has to offer the world. And I love her. She's an amazing healer. And then I have, no attachments to, it's just on my YouTube, and she shared it with you. And then you're like, I want to connect. And so here we are. It's like, you just never know what is going to happen in the universe. And we've been connected since then. And now you are here doing your own interview, and it's super exciting. This is one of many to come, because I know we already have talked about like a bunch of different ones to come. So this is kind of just like the come meet Occam, hear about Shasta. Let's talk about what he has to offer, what he's going to be doing for those of you who are joining us. And if you're a spontaneous person, you can still join us. And if you're watching this and you're like, oh, dang it, I can't go this year. You're watching this after the fact, it's already passed. I am going to have a wait list in the caption above, so you can go and check in the wait list. And if you're watching this way after the fact, the next year Shasta trip for 2024 might already be up and running. So check the upcoming events. So anyways, thank you for being here. And do you have anything you want to add about like the universe and how it brought us together?
Yeah, because it was really beautiful the way it happened. I was on Clubhouse, right, doing my thing, and I popped into one of Emma's rooms, clearing money blocks, or the energetics of money blocks. It was something about it. I was like, ooh, I like that, because I've heard a lot of people talking about money blocks and affirmations and beliefs, but she was actually bringing in the energetic aspect of it, and I was like, oh, let's talk, let's see what this is like. And we did connect, and we had a great call. And before our call, she was like, oh, go check out this interview I did. This kind of explains it, and you can see me do it. And then I saw your interview, and something about the way you interviewed her was different than like other podcasts. There was just something about it that made me feel like, yeah, this is a place where I can be presented and not just tell a story, but actually like start to make a change in people's lives and start to make a ripple. Right, start that ripple effect. And that, yeah, so our first call is just amazing, because I was like, I want to get on a podcast with you. If you had told me, oh, 9 months from now we're also going to be doing a retreat and all this, like I would have been like, okay, whatever. But yeah, here it is. I've been to several of your events. I love everybody in the community. Everything that I've been to that you've presented has really been beneficial in many ways. And the way that you highlight individuals is what I like to do. I like to highlight people and really like, I just like the way that you're not, let's see, what is this? How do I say this? You're the hub, not the highlight. You're not the headlight. You're like this hub, like you're bringing people together and you're creating the structure and the space for us all to find each other. And that is a huge, beautiful, catalytic thing that you are. And it's just beautiful. And I'm so pleased to have met you. And I'm glad that you're following your heart. Like what you're doing with this community is clear that this is in your purpose, in your codes, whatever you want to call it, whatever you decided to do. I can see in your face when you're doing what you're doing that this is the passion. This is the purpose, and you're creating change for everybody. So I'm so, so grateful that you have found yourself and your voice and your method, and that you have shared it with us and brought us all along on this beautiful journey and created space where we can grow. So yeah, that's why I love you and the community.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I just have chills, and I receive all of that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take a minute to just soak it in. And it's funny because I took this wealth dynamics test. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that, but I had heard of it, and I love to take like assessments. And there was options like you're the star or you're the support. And I got that I was the support, and I was like, no, I'm the star. Like I love to like be on video and share my stories. And so I thought I was the star, but as I've built this network, I realized that I really love to be the support person. Like, and I was even in a theta healing session with one of my theta healers. That's what Emma does, by the way. It wasn't her, it was a different person. And she was like, yeah, and you're on stage facilitating like this workshop. And then she goes, ooh, that doesn't feel good to you. And she's like, you got to go down and you got to sit at the tables with the people and like interact and pull everybody like together. And that's exactly what you just said. And that's what I realized is like one of my soul's gifts and my zones of genius is literally creating the space and the events and the environments and the experiences for people to just come to. And I hold that container and then they connect and magic happens. Like I have had the most magical connections that have come out of just, hey, this is before I had a business. Like, does everyone want to go dancing tonight? And I literally had friends that I had been trying to connect them to meet each other and see if they might want to date. Like that night, they ended up connecting and they've been together and married since. And it's like that magic. I just was the person that initiated. That's why my bucket list was really powerful for myself and other people, because I'm just doing life and I invite people to join. And as long as they tell me yes, magic happens. And so thank you for finding me. Thank you, universe, for bringing us together. Thank you for that beautiful share about what I'm creating and how I'm stepping into my soul gifts. And thanks for being a part of it, because it's people like you that, and souls like you, I love to use the word souls, that make it what it is, right? I can only do so much as one person, but it's all of the people that come that make it what it is. And yeah, I would have never thought that, first of all, I'd be doing I don't like to call it a retreat, because I don't know if it's a retreat. We'll call it an adventure journey.
Build your own adventure.
Yeah, like a spiritual adventure journey in Shasta. If you would have asked me that, I'd be like, no way. And somehow or another, it came into my sphere. I said yes. It was very advantageous of myself, I see now. And I am trusting that it was all for a reason. I am growing like crazy through it. The business is growing. I think we're like, I don't know, 8 months old now with the network. And yeah, I would have, who knew that you'd be joining us? Like, I think it's so awesome.
And even when you said that you wanted to be this, or that you were supposed to be the star, the sun's the star too.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a great way to look at it. So the sun is a star, but then shines separately. But
this space that allows everybody to move around it and draws them in, so that like they can have a cohesive. Yeah. So you are still a star, and you're shining on all of us. But you are doing it from that place of being in with us, not down to us.
Yes. And that's what feels the best for me. It's like, I'll go on and do videos by myself, but I work best in partnership, which is why the network, I know one day I'm pretty sure I feel that I'll have a business partner for the network. Like, I'm the founder, but I'll have a business partner, maybe, is what I feel like. And I'm partnering every time a new guide joins, and I'm doing events with them. I'm doing interviews with them. I'm partnering with explorers when they reach out to me and say, Jen, what books would you recommend? Jen, what events should I go to? It's like, it's always that partnership, and that's what feels the best. So, and I love to highlight other people. I have always been a natural person to just promote and share. I always looked at it just as sharing information, like, oh, you need to meet this person. What you do with it is up to you. If it doesn't feel in alignment with you, that's most important. If you just tuck it away and it shows back up later, you know that the breadcrumb was there, and that's the validation. So I love it. This is the signs and the synchronicities of the universe. And when you just like open yourself up and explore the path, you'll see what happens. So I could keep going about that into Shasta, but first I would love to just we talked about how we met, but tell me, like, what was your catalyst for your own spiritual awakening and like getting into, I personally, not for everybody, but I personally like just see it as combined spiritual awakening and personal development and growth is how it occurs for me. So I always just say, like, how did you get into it? What was your catalyst?
Yeah, for me, it's funny because I wish it was like you with the bucket list or whatever. You just did this thing, and then all of a sudden it opened up. But for me, it was really the 1,000 steps that made the journey, right? So I actually had been privy to spirituality. My mom was into Science of Mind, and Wayne Dyer was playing in the background on audio tape, like at all times. And I went dark side for a while, right? So I had my teenage years that were really mired in violence and aggravation and drug use and all the things that someone does when they don't think they're going to live past 21. And there was a moment where I was going to end it all. And in that moment, when I started to think about like whose fault it was, right? I had this epiphany of like seeing all the circumstances that I had held to blame for where I was and realized that I was the main factor. I was the only factor that was actually in every one of those situations and that I could take the power from them. It was my choice, right? Now, I'd be lying if I said, like, that day I was sober and all of a sudden I started doing Reiki and everything else. But in that day, I chose to be a product of my past instead of a victim to it. And that led to the 20-year path to where I am now, moving through sobriety from methamphetamines for 20 years now, and then cigarettes, alcohol, beer, all the other stuff. And then it just really got reignited 9 years ago. My son's autism kicked in and life was just like, what is going on? And I'm not going to tell the story because it's a super long story, but how I even got invited to the ayahuasca ceremony in itself is an amazing synchronistic experience. And once I was there, the spirit basically told me that I knew the path to walk if I quit clouding my vision. And so for the last 6 years, it has been a very conscious, very pointed effort to seek what that cloud is, right? At first I thought it was marijuana, so I quit smoking marijuana. That actually did open up a lot of that jumping back into my teen traumas, right? And being able to process that stuff without the aid of the marijuana to help buffer that. And so diving into that really rawly. And then I'd have had just all these dreams and this downloads about this energy system and how the trauma and the belief systems and the constructs and entities all affect our physical and emotional and mental well-being. And how could I not do something with it, right? How could I not do something? And so in the journey of how do I heal myself, I found that there are other people who can benefit from that story. And then by sharing the tools I've picked up along those 20 years and sharing them with somebody, we can take that 20-year journey and knock it down to a 20-day journey sometimes, like really those kinds of key elements that happened this year and 5 years later and 5 years later and 5 years later, I finally identify as the key, I call them linchpin moments for my existence that have led me to here. So it wasn't one event, but it was really the awareness that where I wasn't all I could be. And I was either going to die sad or live happy. And that has been the main factor, is choosing to better myself one way or another. And it's just all come from that.
That's freaking beautiful and awesome. And we'll have to, on a different interview, get into your story about the signs and the synchronicities that brought you to your ayahuasca ceremony. But I didn't want to stop you in the middle of it, but I wanted to kind of just, if you're open,
Always.
If you're not, that's okay too. I know you are.
I'm an open book. There's no such thing as too personal, too private, or too gross with me. So,
well, you said the dark years. You were like the dark days, and then you got all into drugs and alcohol, and then you almost considered taking your life. Yep. Can you just share, because I know that there's a lot of people struggling out there. Can you share, like, what did the dark days look like for you?
Yeah.
Just like a high level, like what were you struggling with that led you to drugs and alcohol?
Oh, I mean, the core wound was self-value, right? Self-worth, having been abandoned by my father, and then certain circumstances through my early young years, the sexual and physical abuse, led to a point where and like I said, this is the funniest thing, is that I actually got attuned to Reiki when I was 14. And so I went super, super sensitive, super into the woo woo. Right. And I like to call it wow, wow, but it really into that craziness. And it was just too much at that point. I had like a miraculous healing. But once I started doing it, I was super sensitive, and something happened in our life where we lost everything. And I had this moment where I was just like, if being nice isn't going to get me by, if all these assholes are getting away with this, I bet I could be an asshole. I bet I could not care about other people's feelings. I bet I could do what I want and not really care about the consequences. And when I got into that, which is very interesting because it was a self-worth issue, but I was being selfish, but not self-worth, right? Like nothing about me had value outside of what I was doing. And so I would say that what was really happening there was I was attempting to hide who I was behind who I thought the world needed or would accept, right? How I thought I could get by in ease. And like, it's easy to be an asshole, right? When you're not concerned about other people's feelings, you can just get through life and not care. And it's really easy. It's a lot harder to really understand the effect you have on yourself and others. And so it was only through the deepest, darkest of those times that I could see the contrast in this reality, right? The fact that I could be either this or that, and that it was a choice. And so once I found myself worthy of life, I think that was probably the biggest key. It was like, I can do something different than what I am, and I can take the power back from my stories. And just that faith, I guess, in the fact that it could be better was enough to put me on the journey.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I just think it's important to, I feel like in society, we tend to tiptoe around like the traumas, big T traumas, like big things that happen, like sexual and physical abuse. Then we have our little T traumas, like, you know, maybe just a critical parent, a helicopter parent. That's a topic for another day, or I'm sure I've talked about it many of times on my lives. But I like to just highlight those things because there are other people that could be watching this that maybe have dealt with something and they've never shared it with a soul. And they could take a step back and go, wow, maybe I'm drinking, I'm smoking, I'm doing drugs, or it could show up in other ways. Compulsive eating, compulsive shopping, gambling, like workaholic. Yeah. Being over busy. It can show up in so many ways. And like, maybe you sharing just that little bit is that one catalyst for someone else to spark something. And I trust my intuition now when questions arise, like, okay, ask him more about this, like dive a little bit more into this before we move on. Because you don't know who could be impacted by us sharing and being vulnerable and sharing authentically and your story.
And even that too, it's like, all of that is great for suicidal ideation and addiction and depression, right? But those same things, those same thoughts, those same belief systems, that worthiness, that can show up in all kinds of aspects. And so if I was going to talk to anybody, it's not like, oh, are you on your last leg? Are you at the rock bottom? What I would say to anybody that I might be able to illuminate is, if you have within you the desire to have one thing, but your thoughts, your habits, and your beliefs continually bring you back to that thing that you know you don't want, then there's something else to address other than your desires. Then there's something else outside of you. And that's where those traumas build up. That's where the epigenetics and even past life stuff can really contribute to one's ability to say, I am worthy, or I do want more. And we just get stuck in these cycles. So if I was going to say one thing that might help somebody decide if they needed to go farther with me or anybody else, it's, do you want more? And are you having a hard time finding that yourself? Because just that, do you want more? If you want more, then that is the door that opens up possibilities. And you can be $1 million coach. You can be a millionaire. You can have all the cars and all the girlfriends and still want more and not feel fulfilled. And so that's what I would say is, if you feel like there's something you want, but your circumstances, your life, your story is not allowing that to happen, then that's the question to ask and seek to find the answer.
I love that. Do you want more? Let me write that down. And I feel compelled to also follow up with, it is okay to always want more. because society tells us like, that's selfish. Like, you should be happy that you can at least pay your bills and this, but it's like, do you want more love in your life? Do you want more joy in your life? Do you want more happiness in your life? Do you want more stability in your life? Do you want more security? Do you want to give back more? And if you want to give back more, then you have to take in something else, like whether you're going to give back through money, so wanting more money to give back more money, like what kind of impact could you make if you opened a nonprofit and were able to help, all these people? Do you want to give more time? You have to look at what's holding you back for like overcommitting all the time. So then you have no time to give to other people or energy. So it is okay to want more. I love that question though. Do you want more? So simple. I need to make a quotes section because you have had so many good quotes. And I'm like, let me just capture these. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing your journey. I believe that that's so important. So you did kind of touch on like how you got into what you're doing today. Is there anything else you want to add about that before we start talking about Shasta and like how you are helping people now, what you're going to be doing at Shasta, the services you offer? We're going to be doing a session. If you're watching this, it's most likely happening today. I'm going to air this probably tomorrow.
So we'll be doing your session.
I'm now committed to airing it, which will be July 14th. And we are doing my session tonight. And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
No, I can't think of anything. I mean, like I said, my mind just starts to roll. Is like, let's talk about like what it looks like, So, no, I think that's good enough for now, except to just say like, no one has to suffer. That's the other thing I would say. No one has to suffer. So.
I love that. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to give people that space and that opportunity to get curious in a safe space and to be able to come to an event. Like these little tidbits that might happen at an event, you don't know where they're going to lead you. And we've already talked about that with like us connecting, like the universe just brought us on this path. Now here we are, you're coming to a retreat in Shasta. Like it's going to be transformational for you as a person, as a guide, a healer, and also for those that may encounter you during this trip and this experience as well. I would love to hear how we had talked about like, what was it like for you to commit to Shasta? And I think that this is such a fun story and inspirational, and also like the signs and the synchronicities and making a decision and the universe conspiring to support you in that. Alchemist, my favorite book. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. My number one book, like changed my life. Thank you to my friend Steve, who sent that to me and said changed his life, and that he highly recommended I read it. And I've read it now, I don't know, 3 times. I have 2 copies. I even got to read it in Morocco, where it like takes place part of the book. So that was so special. But anyways, I digress. Okay, go ahead.
What was I going ahead with? The synchronicities. Pardon me. Okay, so first, pre-story, right? Just a little bit of backstory about what situation and circumstances were circling around when Jennifer offered the retreat, told me about the retreat. So my son has special needs. He's on the autism spectrum, and he is nonverbal. And for the last 6 months, he's been having a reaction to a black mold exposure, whole nother conversation. Very violent, very aggressive, very tough times for us. I was not able to even really work. Like I wasn't able to give time to clients and maintain that, right? So this was a very interesting time in my life where I was really focused inward on the family and not out on the doing. And when you offered me this session or the retreat, when you told me about the retreat, it was that point where I'm like, look, things are starting to get better. We're getting the better medication. Gavin's sleeping better. We're doing the more treatments. And there's a good chance that I could go to this. It's close enough, right? It's cheap enough. I could present myself there. These are all really great things. But I'm going to have at least 2 clients and a week's worth of sleep for Gavin, right? Because that's what I need to be able to feel confident to do this. And it was amazing. I mean, I think I called you the next day and said, I don't know what you're doing to call in this happening, but I got my 2 clients. And then the next day, I got 2 more clients. And then I just sold a package of sessions. And like the moment that I said I needed to go to this, and that was also actually going to be in the backstory, is like, I don't have a hobby. I don't have time off. I'm really a physical guy. I do a lot for my family and for my clients. And I haven't had a hobby. I haven't had this time off. And so many people are telling me, you need to recuperate. You need to rest, right? So first and foremost, I'm excited about this retreat because I want the ceremony. I want the connection. I want to be recharged with people who are spiritually on the same level and the same page as me. And then to go and present makes it even more appealing. But it was like when the universe heard me say, like, I really want this, and I think it would be good for my soul and for my family and for my community. It was like the universe just said yes. And it was so easy and so smooth that there was no try, right? There was no do, there was no push. It was opening up and saying, if this is for my highest good and the highest good of all, bring me the path to make it happen. And it started popping into place. And I want to give this other example of another retreat that I really, really wanted to go to. The ticket was paid, the flights were paid. Like, it was going to be just a really amazing abundance retreat, right? In California, big mansion and all these people. It was going to be amazing. But I wanted it just as bad, right? I said, if this is right, same thing. If this is right, I need 2 clients so I can have my bills paid and feel comfortable going. And I need to have Gavin sleep for a week. But when I made that claim, nothing was happening. And I was really forcing it. I was like, this is going to be the key. This is going to be the thing that changes my mindset and puts me in the right place. It gets me in the right vibe. This has got to be the thing that I need, right? This thing. Oh, isn't there a thing that makes this all easy? This must be it. And the universe is just like, nope, no clients, no clarity calls, no sleep, and no income tax return, coming in time. And so the one day where I called the guy, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it this time, man. Maybe next year, but I have to really do what I have to do. The day that I decided not to go, all of a sudden I got my income tax return. Then it was one of those funny things where if you're open to letting the universe lead you, and if you can truly enter that space of faith, right? Because I've done it faux faithfully before. Like, yeah, universe, I want you to show me the way to this destination, right? Versus, hey, universe, show me what's best for me. Show me the destination. Don't just give me the path to the destination I think is best. And in all of this, really separating myself from my desires and really letting the universe, and I don't remember who told me this. Oh, I wish I could remember, but it was like giving over the how, like picking what you want, picking the what you want and the why you want it. But the how, truly release that to that force of the universe that has a longer reach and a longer vision than you do. Because when you restrict the universe to this is how I want this to happen, the universe gets bored. And it's like, you silly, silly little human with your tiny little mind and your lack of ability to see connections outside of yourself, right? But when you say, hey, I'm going to keep doing what I do, what feels right to me, you take care of this if it's right. And the universe will literally be like, ooh, I get to play? Watch, I'm going to connect you to Jennifer. 8 months later, you're going to be doing it. Like, I could have, like I said, I never could have choreographed this if I had desired it. But to step into that faith of this is what I want. And if it's for the highest good for me and all, and to the harm of none, then it'll happen. And so just that statement of, if this is right, I will have had 2 clients and I will have had the time to go. And like I said, I'm not bragging, but like I literally have had like a $10,000 month of sales this month since I said, if this is right, then it will work. And that is the beauty of letting the universe go, because it paid me in 10 times, 10x what I thought I needed, right? Because I believe I am supposed to be there, because I believe I'm supposed to serve, I'm supposed to connect. And so I'm excited to be in the flow of it all.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And it's because you are supposed to be there. Yeah. And it's like, I can speculate on what I think is going to happen. I said earlier, you will experience transformation. You're going to come back. That's going to ripple into your family, your friends, your work. And then you might touch the lives and help others to transform on there. But also, we don't know if we stay open and we stay curious, even more, like you said, like we have this tiny box that we're in as humans. But like when you step out and you allow things to happen, even better things can happen, right? And so I love that. I have so many stories of experiences like that I would love to just document and get on my blog so that people could go look and just be inspired by it. Like a quick one that came through as you were talking was like, I kept every day I walk, and I live and like kind of by a golf course. So there's like a nature area. And as I walk there, people throw out trash. And I was like, dude, I'm going to find $100 here one day. Like, I'm just going to find $100. So I found like quarters, I found some dimes, and I just kept saying, I'm going to find $100 here one day. Well, we went to the casino for my mom's birthday this a couple years ago. And I watched this person win, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I want to go check in. Well, I see my mom's friend who's there with us is already talking to the person who won. I like to go congratulate them, cheer them on, be happy for them, celebrate their wins, and also find out what were they betting, what are they playing. Like, it interests me. I love learning. Like, I use a lot of money and spiritual practices when I go to the casino, and manifestation and all those things. That's a whole different story. But so anyways, my mom's friend was like, hey, she needs to call her friend and she doesn't have a phone. Can she use yours? And I was like, sure. And I had left it back at the table we were sitting at eating. So she comes back and she's like, here, I want to give you $100 to use your phone. And I was like, no, I don't, like, you just use my phone. Like, I'm happy to serve. Like, and she's like, she just threw it on the table and she's like, no, here you go. And then I was like, I tried to give it back again. Now I know that was a gift from the universe and you should receive. And so anyways, she left it there and we walked off and she used my phone, and I manifested $100, but it wasn't in the way that I thought it was going to come. And when I released, like, I just let it out of my spirit, like totally forgot about it. All of a sudden, and I was out of money. I was going to go back to the room and I probably brought my journal and some stuff to do. And I enjoy being in the room and just being away from home also. And so I was like, whoa, like all of a sudden I'm back in the game. Like, it was crazy. And that story gets even crazier, but we don't have time. But it's releasing that, like, right. I said, I would love to have $100. And then all of a sudden someone's paid me $100 to use my cell phone that I didn't even need, but she had an abundance and she felt that she should do that. And so I now, okay, thank you. I will receive that. And, I was like very grateful to her, and it was a good time. So I love that.
And you also allowed her the pleasure of giving.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. She had an abundance and she wanted to thank me. She had just won a jackpot, and come to find out, she had won a bunch of jackpots like the night previous. So she was
probably, because that's how she is with it. She's like, that's to give it, to make it, to flow it, right?
And that's the thing when I said earlier, it's okay to want more, because as I, start to earn more money, I can give more money. I can buy more time for myself too, through services. Like if I hire a chef, if I hire a housekeeper, that buys me time that I can spend more time with my friends, spend more time with my family, spend more time.
And those persons get to be paid. So they have more time with their family. Like, it's just this ripple
and more money. It's this beautiful like synergy. And yes, so
and that's why I love affiliates too. Like I was telling you before we got on the call, like how excited I am. I sold a package of sessions. Someone referred that person to me. So like that person is going to have a surprise $800 in their account tomorrow.
That's amazing.
Like, what a blessing is that to be able to bestow upon somebody just for spreading the word and just by being, open, and like, that giving and that reciprocation, that is such an important, I think we all know that's like one of the laws of abundance, right? Is reciprocation. And so, but it's just, having more, doing more, being more.
I understand tithing to the fullest now and why it's so important to give back. It does truly come back in tenfold, like 100%. And it's like that person's just sharing your services because they experienced them and they had such an impact that they are excited about it. I'm sure it's not about the money at all. I can't.
No, they didn't know. They didn't know. Yeah.
So. Oh, they didn't even know. Yeah.
Well, they knew they could get an affiliate, but they didn't know it was going to be that. They were expecting $100, so and so they would share no matter what. Cause I had someone that was like, I would share your stuff no matter if I got anything from it or not, Jen. Like, and that's the highest compliment I can receive, is like that people would, like earlier, you coming on and sharing about how you're so excited to be a part of the network, and sharing about, me as a soul doing my soul's gifts and my soul's work. Like that is like the gold to me. So to be able to actually like just add a gratitude blessing to someone for it, like that might be the $800 that they needed to put their kid into summer camp. Who knows, right? So it's all like this synchronicities, then just being in that flow and in the alignment. Let's talk about, because you and I could talk forever. So we gotta keep track. Let's talk about the Shasta journey. So what are you going to do? So I'll run through the itinerary real quick. Thursday night, we're all meeting up at 5 p.m. and we will connect in. Everyone will meet each other.
and we're going to go get water from like the sacred water park that I believe is like fresh mountain water.
Yeah, it's mountain spring water.
I heard it's a very sacred place. I have not been to Shasta at all yet. So this is all going to be new for me. And then we're going to go to a locals experience and we're going to go do the ecstatic dance. So that's going to be fun. Chill day, chill nights, just kind of to get acquainted. Friday, we are going to go to, I haven't been to all these places, so my memory to remember them is hard. Oh, we're going to Castle Lake and we're going to hike up to Heart Lake. And then we're coming back down to Castle Lake and we're going to chill at the lake. So I know that you had mentioned that when we're there at the lake that you would bring your table and you were going to do some Reiki services. And what we would say is like anyone that's coming, they can give you love donations if they feel compelled to, but you're there to be of service and share your services with everybody. Yeah. And you have oracle cards. What else you had told me?
So I'll have oracle cards. I'm going to bring my singing bowls. So I might do some sound. There's a couple of us that are into this sound vibration. So there's going to be multiple musical sound healing events. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm bringing the table because like, honestly, nothing actually makes me happier than doing energy work. Like I love helping people. So whether it's a 10-minute tune-up or an hour, whatever we get into, I'm just going to open it up for what is right in the moment, right? And just being at Shasta, and I wanted to emphasize on this, in addition to the things we're doing at Shasta, Shasta itself is known, I believe it's the root chakra of the earth. And it is a super magical space where there have been natives have gathered there for centuries. And it's a very, very magical place. So it's not just a mountain. It is in equivalence to Machu Picchu and those types of spiritual centers. And so just being there, I'm super excited. And so to bring my art and my craft there and see how it can be enhanced by those vibrations in collaboration with the cacao, with the sound healings, with the hiking, I have a feeling that, and I don't just have this feeling, I know that as we move through our healing journeys, there are many emotional moments, right? We dive back into traumas and blocks and those things that we didn't want to address until we're strong enough. And then we go to an event like this and we find the strength and we find the container and the people who can trust to truly let ourselves out. And so I just want to be there to help facilitate any energetic space holding that I can for people and for the space itself. And so I'm really excited to just be in service. I love service. And so, yeah, I just like see this beautiful image of like setting up the table next to the lake and literally just doing like 10 or 30-minute energy sessions and just seeing where it goes. I'm open to everything, right? Like I really realized recently, I finally have stepped into the submission of I know nothing. And that gives me access to everything. So we will step into the flow and whatever happens will happen. But I absolutely believe that the people who are going to be there are going to be the right people. And the things that are going to happen there are going to be the right things. And so I'm coming with a very loose agenda to be of service and to be open to be guided to be the highest for all. Yeah.
I love that. And that's exactly what this whole experience is about. That's what the network's about too. Because people are like, Jen, you put on so many events. I can't go to all of them. I'm like, there's no expectation ever. Come to what you feel called to. Same thing for this. You want to go hover in the corner when we're hanging out at the lake and just sleep. Like that's what you're there to do. And we'll hold that space for you from afar. Mm-hmm. You know, if you want to go in the lake, if you want to get a session, like that's what it's all about. And it's just about connecting. We'll have like, we can hang out and chat and get to know each other. And then that evening is the Quantum Sacred Cacao ceremony that is hosted by the Feathered Sage and Conscious Ballads. That is separate. I spoke about that earlier. Check the website. Oh, let me show the website so that they can go check it out. And then Saturday, we are going to have our... And like, let me look at Saturday's day. I know it's our pontoon boat day. We're hiking Fairy Falls. And then in all of these things, we'll be having built in like rituals, ceremonies, journaling, meditations throughout by different people. Our big host is Lori, our tour guide, who's a local and knows like about all the scientific and also like natural things. And okay, I'm going to speed it up. We're like, oh my God, time. I just looked and I was like, whoa, I'm so excited. Okay. And then we're going to go to do our pontoon boat experience. And then that evening, so we're staying at a yurt on a sanctuary nearby, and we're going to have our gathering, and we're going to walk the labyrinth, check out the chakra gardens, do a sound bath,
Mm.
drum circle, and also they have a cold plunge there with mineral healing water. So for those of us who are brave enough to do that. And then, so you'll be contributing there as well.
And
And
be partaking. Like I said, I'm happy. I'm so glad to serve, but this is also like, this will be the first time I've done anything for myself for
yes,
ages. Right. So
yeah,
to go, the cacao ceremony was a huge factor that's been calling out to me recently. And then
yes.
the idea of doing these sound baths and being in the water, like all of that is just going to, I just know it's going to, I can feel it already, the recharging and revitalizing and just being able to move from that space so powerfully. So yeah, all of those things are so exciting. And then to contribute however I can is the addition. Yeah.
It's going to be like a magical synergistic thing with everybody. Everyone, even if you're coming as an explorer and just a guest and not a guide, like you're contributing something. You are going to help to catapult, catalyst, transmute, do something with somebody else, be a support system, whatever that might be, and be loved on. And it's the same for me. Like I was really excited when we found this sanctuary and decided to stay here because it said no Wi-Fi and spotty cell service. And I was like, this is really scary for me because as one of the people facilitating and putting this on, and as an organizer, I'm used to being in communication with everyone. And I'm like, I think everyone will understand I'm going to be off the grid also. You'll have your itinerary, you'll know where to meet. And when we drive 2 minutes up the road, we'll get the service, like if there's anything that's pertinent, but I get to check out too, right? So I get to be of service and participate and be loved on and nourished and nurtured as well. So I'm excited about that.
And bringing these powerful of people together in a powerful space, every conversation is going to be a breakthrough. I mean,
Yes.
like, you know,
It's crazy and awesome. So if you're watching this and you're like messaging me and I'm not responding, it's because I'm checked out for Shasta. Like I'm going to put on my vacation responder. Like usually when I go on vacation, I still, for some reason or another, there's something in my space. I go on vacation and I get all these messages, collaborations, questions, blah, blah, blah.
because you're taking care of yourself. You're making yourself more powerful to capacitate more action.
I know, but I'm like, but why not when I get back from vacation? Like, so I'm going to set the space so that everyone knows I'm off the grid so that I don't feel I have to respond. Right.
Righteous.
So, yeah. And then Sunday, we're going to do some more hiking and connection on the actual mountain. And that day is a little fluid as well. And we'll wrap up with our closing ceremonies. And then later that evening, we'll do music at the park. So there's lots of spaces for services. There's other guides coming and super exciting. I do want, because of time purposes. Oh, do you have something?
It is Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday morning. It's not a night on Sunday either, right?
There is a night on Sunday, but it's optional. It's a locals event, music in the park. It's free. It's a bluegrass band that has a contemporary. I looked them up. They have like a contemporary. They use like string instruments also. So it's very nice and chill. Like I like bluegrass because it's upbeat, but it also has like a chill factor to it. So it's very soothing. And then that's just hanging out at the park and with local people and probably other tourists also, because it's a very hot spot in the summertime for people to come and visit like us. So yeah, so let's in the sake of time, let's talk about like what you offer and my upcoming session that we're going to be doing. What does that look like?
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm going to do as brief a version as possible. There is a video on my website that explains the details of how it happens on occamwood.com. If you want to go there and look under TTSI, watch the video. But basically, it's a 4-hour session. It's not for the faint of heart. It is a way for us to really bypass your own traumas and blocks and barriers. Because in the video, I explain how all of our ideas and our traumas live in our field, and they affect the abundance and prosperity that our spirit is constantly trying to condense down into our physical body. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to bring in source energy, free and clear of all of your blocks and all of the stuff that's going to happen. We're going to bring that energy into your body. And as we do, your body will start to be attached to the truth. You'll be able to start to see and feel and think into the things that maybe have been hidden from you, right? Because a lot of these energies and beliefs, they consciously obstruct you from seeing the truth and making choices that would benefit you. So we charge the body, we balance the brain, and we do a chakra alignment, because no matter how much talk therapy you do or positive affirmations you do, if your root chakra isn't grounded, you're basically just stirring up the crap and letting it fall wherever it goes. So we're really going to get your body so high tuned and high functioning that all of the lower vibrational energies aren't even comfortable anymore. They're not welcome, and we'll be moving energy and moving blocks and everything as we go through. And ultimately, once you're charged up, then we'll address those things and release them. I use portal technology, so I don't do cord cutting. I don't come in with aggression or we're not like banishing or exercising. It's really a conscious communication with these other forms of energy. And then that comes with the follow-up time of in between the follow-up and the session. You have me on WhatsApp. So the level, as you know, right, ascension is never a straight shot. As we raise in vibration, everything shakes up and some things fall apart and some things blow up and some things come together. So there's a long week there of support on WhatsApp. And then we do the follow-up, which is closer to your standard Reiki, which is just tuning up everything and reminding those energy systems how they are allowed to be now, because you've done 20, 30, 40 years with this kind of energy system, and there's a habitualness to our humanity that really can be thwarted with that second session of really anchoring it in and bringing everything in. And that's a motivational and integration session as well. So we really decide where you want to go from there, and it can be an incredibly powerful combination.
That sounds amazing and scary at the same time, not going to lie. And I trust everything is in the divine timing and that this is all now worked out for the way it is. I have had, since I said yes to Shasta, I did a video on this the other day. Like, I have had so much stuff coming up to be released, to be healed, to be transmuted. And also I'm very much so growing and expanding as a person, as a business owner, and in my business as well. So I'm very excited. And I'm super grateful and just synchronistic that I'm actually going to see you in person next week after my session and potentially be experiencing some of this in person. I'm like, I don't want to take time away from anyone else that might want your services. So I'm happy to stand in the background and support. But if time arises where you are free and I am free, I'm like, I always love just to be loved on with healing. So if you are loving this and you are like, I want to see if maybe I'm a good fit to work with Occam, you can go to his website here, occamwood.com, and you can book a free clarity call. It is on there for you. I'm looking.
And that is not a sales call. I really genuinely make that an opportunity for you to have the time to clarify what it is that you might be missing. And if I'm not the right person for you, I have a huge network, including Jennifer's network of people who I trust. And so it really is a conversation, and it is to find out, to get that clarity, to understand what exactly is the thing that's unseen.
I love that. And so just go to the website, scroll down to the bottom. You can also check out the Soul Crew. I know you wanted to just share.
Yeah, the Soul Crew. That's the community we have where I co-host with my partner, Jessica Divine. Just Divine. And it's a space for neuroquirky spiritual individuals to come together and really help each other. We call it roundtable coaching, and I've kind of coined the term collective individuality, helping each person be as much them as they can be, and then helping them figure out where they fit into the collective so that we can all be in our genius and not have to suffer through the crap that we don't want to do.
I love that. That's so important. Finding my way as well. So check out Occam's website. I will have another interview after that we do my session so that I can share my experience. And I like to share those things for people that want to hear them, and to just share my journey too, I feel is very powerful. That's also one of the soul's missions that I have, is to just live my life and share it with others. I think we all have that, but I feel really called to that. And I have seen and heard powerful things come from that. So that's why I'm always here to continually do the work. And I want to be the best person I can be, the highest self that I can be, and the best leader that I can be. And so that is why I continually stay an explorer and stay open and curious and co-create and co-collaborate with the universe, which was our whole topic for today, about all of the magic that's available to us when we just start to get curious. We explore, we say yes to things, we try new things. And if that's working with Occam, maybe booking that clarity call, maybe that's coming to Shasta. If it's not this year, hop on the wait list, or whenever you're watching this, book for next year. There's always going to be other events. Yeah, always a lot to you. And if you have anything and you're watching this and you're like, I want to know about this, I want to meet this person, let me know. I'm happy to serve and respond to whatever it is that you are looking to get for yourself and for your knowledge. Occam, before I roll us out, is there anything else you want to add quickly?
I just want to let everybody know that we are entering an entirely new era where it's a new Kali Yuga, it's a new solar cycle. There's so much happening right now that just don't be limited by what you have had.
I love that.
Because everything is possible now. The collaborations, the cooperations, we are leaving the era of solitude and monopolization and corporatization, and we are moving into community and collaboration and cooperation. So yeah, join us. Let's all join hands. And I always say, as you heal yourself, you heal the collective. As you heal the collective, you can change reality. So let's do it.
I love it. And I believe the same. Thank you, everyone. We will see you soon. Have